Welcome to a special edition of Figure It Out. This episode, we will be breaking down the toy day of Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest. We got a lot to break down here. We were really looking forward to this day because we thought we'd get some stuff we wanted, but we ultimately got none of what we wanted. But on this panel, as always, starting off with Jaydee. What's going on, Jaydee?
What is up, Streamland? Thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. And next up, Pete. What's going on, Pete?
What's up, everybody? I just would like to start this out by quoting my old art teacher, Mr. Frank, and just to wrap up like the whole Hasbro Pulse experience today, it's basura, B.
Sure I would have killed to have a teacher that said that.
Sure, many people echo those sentiments.
So let's jump right into it. Obviously, G.I. Joe had their panel today. The three of us are really looking forward to it. Jaydee, you were out. You were like, what's going on? Keep me up to date. We got some reveals from the movie tie-in figures. We also got an announcement that Snake Eyes is coming out in July instead of later this year like it was originally slated. But at the end of the day, no trailer was released. And Jaydee, I'm going to start with you. I say this to the people over in GVN all the time, and they tell me how nuts I sound because it's irrelevant. And what I say is marketing matters.
Yep.
Because marketing will make or break a movie. And the best example I told everyone was, look at Birds of Prey. They did nothing to market that movie. It came out and everyone shitted on it because it did not do it. They should have easily marketed her the same way Ryan Reynolds marketed Deadpool, because that's essentially what Harley Quinn is. She's like a female Deadpool for.
She breaks the fourth wall. Yeah,
exactly.
But, the rest of the cast didn't do what they were supposed to carry their share of the load.
Fair.
Margot took care of business. Journey Smollett, yes. I know you got friends with some of the cast, so I'm not going to mention anybody else. But I felt quite a few people didn't carry their load, and Ewan McGregor just didn't do it for me in Black Mask. But that's neither here nor there. When it comes to what's going on right now, I don't know. I feel this is an unwritten rule, but when you got a movie coming out in a few months and you don't even get a teaser, let alone a trailer, that means they don't have faith in the product. And to not have faith in the product, that tells the rest of us there's really nothing to look forward to. And we got we got some information on the 6-inch figures that are coming out, but we got nothing with like the retro line. Are they going to continue it? Are there going to be new sculpts? Are they going to be spinning that off? Is G.I. Joe coming back to life at all? And I don't think it is. And this is the perfect opportunity, to bridge that gap. And if it doesn't, well, then G.I. Joe goes back on the shelf for maybe 5 years until something else comes, to light the way for it.
Yeah, I will say this. I will say Snake Eyes, and I think this is very fair. And I think Pete will definitely agree because he hates Duke. Snake Eyes is easily the Batman of the G.I. Joe universe. It's the guy that everybody knows. It's the guy that everybody loves. Yeah. And it's the easiest one to market. So it's why they started this new universe with Snake Eyes. Because if this works, everything else is smooth sailing. If this fails, there's nothing the Lady J show can do. It's just literally nothing. It's nothing it can do because you still have to circle back around to the one familiar face everybody knows, which is Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes. And if the movie doesn't hit, how are you going to sell people to, well, we're going to repackage it and put them in Lady J's show or put it in a Duke show? It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So,
and then no hint to like a Lady J, tying figures or anything. Give me a silhouette, something. Let me know that I mean, this is Hasbro. Hasbro is the multimedia platform, right? shit, you gave me a fucking video game that died after 2 days of being on the shelf. You know, once it was released, there was no push, no support for it whatsoever. Yeah, was that supposed to be tied in with the movie and stuff like that? Yes. So did the pandemic screw up a hell of a lot of plans? Okay, but you're a Hasbro, and Pete said this. If there's anyone that knows how to handle business during the pandemic, it should be Hasbro.
Yep.
And you dropped the ball on one of the properties that made you. I mean, G.I. Joe has been around since the 60s. You know what I mean? G.I. Joe's were one up against, Barbie with Mattel. This is, one of your flagship brands. Yes, Star Wars is what makes you money, but Star Wars came out of Kenner. It was G.I. Joe and Transformers that put you guys on the map, and you're letting it die. I mean, dude, the fans are out there. And I say this time and time again, Cobra Commander in 1980, whatever, when he came out, sold 200,000 units. All right. We're still here buying that. We're still here looking to support that. We want to spend money on you. The reason why so many people are complaining is because we want to put the money in the stuff that we love. You're not giving it to us.
Yeah, and I will say, if you're Hasbro, where the risk comes in at is you look at DC, right? You can say whatever you want about their movie universe, but their animation's doing well. Mm-hmm. I believe their toy line is doing well. I believe their comics are doing well. Even some of their TV stuff, whether you like CW or HBO Max stuff, they're doing well in other avenues, right? So it's why you can take big swings and risk with your movies, because you're working everywhere else. If you're Hasbro, we just finished telling you we didn't even like your reveal of the toys, right? So let's say 40 to 45% of your market doesn't like those new toys that are revealed. Do you think they look at that and they go, well, at least the movie will be good? I wouldn't say that. I would, and let me preface this. I do not feel as though this movie will be bad, because I have so far not liked how they've been handling a lot of the things around this movie. It just has too many people that I enjoy. So I'm like, at least if I can get an all-star performance by Storm Shadow, by my boy Andrew Koji, I can live with it. Mm-hmm. If they can give me just, just honoring Snake Eyes in this, I can live with it, right? It's just the idea of, my fear is Henry Golding is too much of a fresh face to believe they will scar it up and mute it. And that's where my issue lies. Now, could he shock us? For sure. But the biggest example I can give everyone is, there is a reason why Robert Downey Jr. has a HUD. And it's so you can see his face at all times. Right. And there is nothing more infuriating than looking at Iron Man from his point of view. Bitch, I don't care how things are inside the mask.
Right.
Show me outside the mask.
Right. So if you give me a Snake Eyes HUD, I'm going to be pissed off that's what's behind the visor all these years. But you have more faith. You're looking forward more to a movie than I am, right? I grew up watching the cartoons, and let's be honest, the cartoons were shit, right? They were half-hour commercials. I felt Renegades was a better cartoon for G.I. Joe than anything else. But for me, movie tie-ins and toy tie-ins, when they go live action, they never work. For me, Transformers didn't work. Ninja Turtles didn't work. G.I. Joe, the first two flicks, that didn't work. The first Mortal Kombat movies
I did like the retaliation figures, though.
Okay. All right. But, this is the last thing I'm going to say, knocking these figures. But you made the Snake Eyes and the Ninjas look like crappy Power Rangers, and you got the Power Ranger line, and they look amazing.
Yeah.
Something ain't working there, man.
Yeah. Pete, I'm going to pass it to you. I strongly feel as though, like I said, I'm still holding out hope, because ask anybody. And Pete, you're a witness to this, because I've said it on like a million different shows we've been on together. Everyone's excited for Shang-Chi, Eternals, Widow, this, that, Venom. Pete, all I've been talking about is Snake
True.
Eyes. It's all I
Yep.
want. So it's like, to me, it's like I just need them to do this right, because if they don't, I don't know how I can trust anything going forward. But what are your thoughts, Pete, on you know, getting a updated release, and then your thought on their reveal of their figures today?
Hold on. Let me get some popcorn. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
Top me off there, Pete. Top me off there, baby.
Salud. I got a fresh bottle for this one.
So did I.
First of all, just to touch back on a previous point you made, yes, Harley Quinn is DC's Deadpool, but Birds of Prey was absolutely nowhere near the quality of movie that Deadpool was, even Deadpool 2.
Right.
You're right. To say nothing against Margot Robbie, she's an absolutely phenomenal Harley Quinn. The rest of the movie was shit around her, unfortunately. What it was? Which one was that? Ewan McGregor was?
Yeah, Black Mask.
Oh God, that was just absolutely awful. They turned Mr. Zsasz into a total nincompoop, for God's sakes. One of the dopest villains around. I shouldn't even say person. I mean, Joni Smollett is fantastic. Yes. And, you know, a quick shout out to her bra in the whole movie, because that certainly kept me interested, especially that running down the street scene. That definitely held its weight in the movie. Let's just throw that out there. But that's just me being a dipshit. As far as the no trailer thing, let me touch on that for a second. You're absolutely right. Marketing is going to make or break a movie. In this idea that, you know, when you finally get the trailer, now what are they going to do? They're going to release something in May or June with a month left. Who's going to give a shit at that point? Conversely, or inversely, I'm not really sure the two different definitions. Look at Disney with Black Widow. We've gotten like 4 or 5 trailers to the point where Disney's almost begging us to see this fucking movie.
Can I say really quick, Pete?
Yeah, good.
They released trailer last year when they thought it was a chance they could release Black Widow, right? People forget Snake Eyes, if no pandemic, was supposed to be out in October of last year.
Right.
So that means the movie's done.
Right.
I have a huge issue with your movie being done, your post-production being done, and you just saying we're going to wait for the right time.
We don't see. Why not the Super Bowl? Everybody's watching the Super Bowl, no matter what, pandemic or no pandemic.
I'm sorry, you brought up October for a second, and that is one of the most telling things you can say, because October, if you're not a horror movie, is when movies go to die on your release schedule.
You would say that more than January?
100%.
Wow, because I know 100%. January 100% is where movies go to die. Because
like Pitch Black, the Pitch Black movie, you know, Vin Diesel's breakout flick, that came out in the fall, right? They didn't know whether it was a horror movie or not, so they threw it into that, and it made them fucking money. It made Vin Diesel. There was no marketing behind it. It was all word of mouth. Everybody thought it was an Aliens ripoff, which to an extent it was, right? But they buried it in October. I remember going to see it in the theater opening weekend, and on Saturday night there was maybe 10 people in Times Square that went to go see that flick. You know,
I mean,
that was a decent flick.
That was good, right?
I do have to agree with you.
So based on that, you know, if they put a flick out in October, that's you know what I mean? That's like putting a summer blockbuster out in August. You're hoping to get some money back from it.
But you know, like with Pitch Black, nobody knew Vin Diesel at the time. Right. Nobody gave a rat's ass about some random horror sci-fi movie.
Right.
This is you're right. This is G.I. Joe. This is a property that with the subject matter has been out since 1982. So you're talking about almost 40 years of these characters. Why do we not have a trailer? And I have to agree with Juwaan 100%. This tells me that you don't have a lot of faith in your own product. Yep. And that's why you're not showing it to us. So this way we don't shit all over it. Mm-hmm. But by not showing it to us, you're giving us the excuse to shit all over it. And I definitely will say that if this movie doesn't do good, if forget fails, just doesn't live up to it. The expectations that the suits at Hasbro have for it, we will not see that Lady J TV series. That will never happen. And you're absolutely right, Jay. The rest of the G.I. Joe franchise goes back in the bucket for several years. Why, oh, why do they not put more money into their wildly successful classified series is beyond me. But that's we'll touch more on that in a moment. Since we're talking about the movie itself, I am grossly, when I saw the face, Juwaan, you're absolutely right. This guy's a fresh face. He's an attractive dude, and he's probably going to be running around without the mask for at least, I would say, half the movie, which is distressing because that's not Snake Eyes to me. That Snake Eyes, one, I've already touched on the the race issue of changing him to Asian that I don't like, but anybody that hasn't seen that, go back to, I think that was our very first Figure It Out episode. So go find that on the Geek Vibes Nation YouTube. Yeah. Full circle. But Snake Eyes should be muted. It does not speak, and his face should be fucked up.
Yes.
I don't buy into the vow of silence because the master got killed. I don't like that storyline.
Because his throat got cut.
His throat got cut, or it was the explosion from the helicopter. Right. And Tommy, Storm Shadow, carried him all the way back.
And another thing worth mentioning.
No.
Even in the comics.
He carried Tommy. That's right. Even though he was fucked up, he carried him. That's why he adopted him.
And in the comics, we also have to remember when Storm Shadow got older, he still wore a mask. It didn't cover the whole face. The eye part was cut out. It was just it's like watching Luchador. You'll never see someone wrestle in Luchador with no mask.
Right. I remember the reveal in the comics of Snake Eyes' face.
Issue 93. That was wild.
Yep. But see, that's where the beauty of storytelling comes in, because you have the Beauty and the Beast element applied to this character, this ugly, disfigured person who has the heart of gold, who has the heart of a saint, right? And he's a trained killer, but that's his, I don't want to say his kryptonite, but that's his weakness, right? Yep. He's scared to show his face. And that's an element you can play off of the story. Harry Golding, he's a pretty boy. I'm sorry. What was the movie they did with Matthew McConaughey, where they were weed dealers in the UK?
Oh my God, The Gentleman. I love that movie.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Right? He was the pretty boy in that.
Actually, really quickly, Jaydee, let me give a perfect example. Punisher season 2.
Yes.
That showed you how a studio fears disfiguring a very attractive gentleman. Look at his name is Jigsaw. His face is supposed to be the Jigsaw.
You gave him 3 lines.
And it was just a few. First of all, here's the even crazier part, Pete. Here's what really pissed me off. And everyone kept saying, remember what we talked about before, Jaydee? Everyone kept saying I was nitpicking. When you watch the end of season 1, the way he was scraping his face across that glass,
beautiful.
No way it's 3 scars on his face. No, you can tell me the best plastic surgeon in the world came out. And now, everyone always, it doesn't have to be what it was in Warzone, where his face was just like, oh.
Yeah, no, that was the whole mask. It was disgusting.
It doesn't have to be that. But what I liked about that was, that guy was attractive. Look how mangled they made him look. I like somewhere in between. In between is not 3 lines on the face. So what it tells me is they fear disfiguring their moneymaker.
That could also be, the actor's agent or lawyers or whomever saying, "Oh, we don't want him."
He's an up-and-coming guy.
That's his moneymaker.
All right, let's go back to Channing Tatum for a second. All right, what came first, G.I. Joe and then Magic Mike and then G.I. Joe 2?
I believe so.
No, right? I think maybe it came Magic Mike first, because I remember going, the guy from Magic Mike?
Yeah, but the reason why he got that extra screen
Magic Mike was 2012.
Was because of the burn he got from Magic Mike. And he was a pretty boy. He was a marketable face.
It was before G.I. Joe Retaliation.
So wait, it was Magic Mike, then Rise of Cobra?
No, Rise of Cobra was first. Rise of Cobra was about 2009 or 10.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, my apologies.
Yeah. So that burn that he got, right, dude. Women will. They're under that still old understanding that women will spend money for a flick that they wouldn't like because
An attractive face.
they have the attractive guy in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Channing Tatum and Henry Golding, he's done a lot of, I don't want to say chick flicks because Crazy Rich Asians wasn't a chick flick, but it was a female-led property, and he was the pretty boy in that. The one with the lady from Game of Thrones.
Yes, Amelia.
With the heart.
Amelia
I forgot.
It was like a
okay.
Christmas movie. Yeah, I know.
Right. That was another, romantic comedy, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So he's got that stroke with the women money, I guess, in theaters.
You mean the women would like to have that stroke with him?
Hey,
And I will say,
thank you. I'll be here all week.
I will say an example of where it works and you do it the right way is Deadpool. Look at what Ryan Reynolds did to his face.
Yeah.
And he very easily could have said, I want just a few spots here and here.
He Freddy Kruegered himself. Yes.
Exactly. But if you read even one Deadpool comic, that's exactly what he looks like in the comics.
I'll go deeper. You ever saw Robert De Niro do Frankenstein?
No, I haven't actually. No.
That's a good flick.
It wasn't the way Jigsaw was in Warzone, puffy like that. It was it was some stitches. It was pulled back lips. It was faded hair,
But it was still very recognizably Robert De Niro.
Yes.
That could have, you're right. That I didn't even put that together. That could have very easily worked for both Jigsaw and for Snake Eyes. Because you still get to see the actor's face.
I'll say this. Snake Eyes I put in the same boat as Halo, right? I'm very much a stickler of when the guy who created that game created it. His vision was for Master, it's something, I can't remember his name. Sorry, I'm blanking. Master Chief, there we go. It was for Master Chief to never show his face.
Mm-hmm.
I've played all the games. My dad's played all the games. He swears by it. He never shows his face. To me, it's not fair because you want to, I guess, Hollywood it for mainstream. You take away the vision of the person who created it. And the person who created Snake Eyes did not want him speaking or showing his face.
No, not really. Sorry. Snake Eyes was made because of a cost-saving effort, right? When the original G.I. Joe line came out, I'm not sure, it was 11 or 12 guys, right? And the paint deco budget was running over budget. It was the same buck on all the figures, even the same head on a few of them. Just, it was that grunt head, just repainted with different colors. Snake Eyes was really supposed to have camo pants. And they didn't have enough money in the budget. So they were like, oh, well, let's either roll back the paint applications on all of the figures or keep the paint applications on all the figures and just roll it back on one. That one was Snake Eyes, the Commando, right? And it wasn't until Larry Hama was doing the G.I. Joe book that he started to incorporate.
Well, he wrote the bios on all of them.
Yes. And he didn't want to do it. It was just, he was one of the editors, but it was a paying gig. It was a paying gig. He was like, fuck it, I'll take it.
Did Snake Eyes ever talk or show his face?
No.
In the comics once.
Yeah.
Once. Right?
Showed his face in issue 93. And that was when basically that was his original face. And then they were doing like some plastic surgery shit. So by the end of the Snake Eyes trilogy, 93 was the like the prequel prologue, whatever. And then 94, 95, 96, if I'm not mistaken, was the Snake Eyes trilogy. And by the end of that, he got a new face, but it was still like, it was kind of like Jonah Hex to there.
But that's why I'm saying, then stick to that. If that was
they did show him, right? And they showed him in Vietnam. It was the trio. It was Snake Eyes, it was Stalker, and I forgot who the
Storm
third
Shadow.
one.
Storm
Shadow was in their unit. And even though they showed Snake Eyes had like the muskrat the muskrat style hat. It was the
sunglasses.
floppy, right? You never saw Snake Eyes' complete face. It was either always the brim covering the eyes, always a nice element covering just this, right?
And it wasn't until issue, I believe it was 105, Scarlet was in a coma. And this was after Storm Shadow, like, he put the ninja mindset on him and sent him in as just like unhinged murderer into whatever war zone that they were at, that I think Major Blood was controlling. I'm pulling this all just out of the recesses back here. And Snake Eyes ends the issue at Scarlet's bedside, and he actually says her name. And that's the very first time. It's the only time you hear him speak.
Right.
And it's not until later, issue 155, which is the last issue Hammer wrote before IDW re-upped the Marvel
later on, but
system.
there was a gap. There was a gap.
A big gap. It was like a 10 to 15-year gap. Snake Eyes writes a letter to this kid who wants to join the Joe team. And this whole issue is basically narrated by Snake Eyes. And you never considered that the guy never speaks, but he thinks all the time. It's not like he doesn't, it's not like he's mindless.
Right.
But you never had that before. It was an amazing issue.
I'll even speak to the fact, here's the biggest reason why we know that as much as they talk about this being very close to the character, this being very accurate to the character, think of it like this. If you're a studio, would you pay Henry Golding $20 to $30 million to never show his face? Because at the end of the day, I could pay somebody $4 million and just have someone do the stunts. Right. So it's like, I find it very hard to believe. And it's why, even if you go back and watch Deadpool, if you watch that movie, he spends more time out the mask than he does in the mask. Right. But what makes it special is when the time comes, he's in the mask. Right. So to me, that's how I look. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Jaydee.
No. I want to capitalize on. I want to tack on to what you're saying there, because I agree with that. But I want to go a step further. They never should have revealed Snake Eyes' race or identity at all, because now what you have is an opportunity for every kid who's buying that toy to think that they are the one underneath that mask, right? Without ever doing that, Snake Eyes could have been black, Snake Eyes could have been Asian, Snake Eyes could have been white, Snake Eyes could have been Latino, Snake Eyes could have been whatever, Irish. You could give him a generic. You could have called him Joe Smith, right? And just added on to that legacy.
That's so another now, thing. We still don't know his name. When you're doing his
flick, right?
Yeah, that is.
You don't got to spend the $4 million even for anybody else. You got to have multiple stuntmen.
So wait, so you're saying you wouldn't have had this as an origin?
No, dude, ever. And that's the beauty. All right, when you look at Spider-Man from the outside world, nobody knows he's Peter Parker. Nobody knew about Miles Morales, right? So only those reading the books know that he's Peter Parker, a white kid from Queens there, right? But if you're anybody else living in New York City, shit, I could be Spider-Man, right? My school teacher could have been Spider-Man, right? The janitor in my dad's office building could have been Spider-Man. He could have been anybody.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of a complete mask. And again, hindsight is 2020, right? We're playing armchair quarterback more than anything else.
Well, let me speak to this. I'll say even if they wanted it to be Henry Golding, right? That could have been a reveal later, because I'll say this might be one of the only projects I can remember that has ever filmed in complete secrecy. We got nothing. We don't know what anyone looks like. No one. It filmed quick, wrapped up, and that was it. That was all we heard.
These toys are literally our first look.
It's a movie about fucking ninjas.
So we shouldn't be able to see much.
Yeah.
But no, so I mean, to me, like I said, and then we'll go into the toys so people don't think we're just here to poop all over the movie. I think it was smart to move it.
We are here to poop on the movie.
Smart to move it to July. G.I. Joe, anything G.I. Joe should be a summer blockbuster. It should be anywhere else in a year besides in the months between May and August. So to me, it was smart. I honestly don't understand why it didn't just get a May release. To me, waiting is never the right thing to do with a movie, with anything. Honestly, with anything. I think Marvel's making a mistake with Shang-Chi. I think the more you show your toys and let us form an opinion off your toys, the worse that possibly could be for you. I mean, because Joel showed me the guy that might be playing the Mandarin. Instead of the 10 rings on his fingers, it's like rings around his arm. And already I wanted to go, I have no
Oh, I hope not.
interest. I'm like, I have no interest in that. So I'm like, I'm gonna reserve it and hope that because his name on the box is not the Mandarin, that's not what he's going to look like. But to me, I grew up on the Mandarin, that 90s Iron Man cartoon where his villain was only the Mandarin.
And the
for
green
those
skin.
reasons, right? Exactly. I love the rings on the fingers with the mystical abilities that come from it. And if you put it on the arms, it takes all of that away from it.
Yeah, like what? My dude's got mystical tattoos or something.
Right. So the reason I brought that up was all we've seen from G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, is now the figures. And it's like, don't let the figures be what we form an opinion from. Because Pete, before you jumped on, I was telling Jaydee, if you look at that Storm Shadow costume closely, it does not look any different than the first costume from Rise of Cobra.
Right.
And it's like you gotta switch it up. Do something different to
All right,
make the costume pop more.
Who did they show us? They showed us Scarlet, Baroness, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, a Night
somebody
Creeper.
that looks like Jinx.
No, her
Right,
name
Aikiko.
is Aikiko. Yeah.
Yeah,
Aikiko.
like who the fuck are you?
Right.
Aikiko,
Right.
I only know from I think it was it Renegades? It was a recent G.I. Joe series that came out a few years ago, but it's the most recent.
Yeah. And Jinx changed from Jinx to Kim Arishikage because of the whole thing with Jinx and Marvel. But now Marvel and Hasbro have this great working relationship.
Kim, thank you. I couldn't think of her first name. I was trying to look it up.
Yeah.
Kim.
Because see, okay.
Wait, there was what controversy was there with Jinx? I don't remember that.
Yeah, because you had the Jinx book from Brian Michael Bendis. Was it Brian Michael Bendis?
I mean, Jinx came out. Jinx premiered in the G.I. Joe movie, which is like 1989. I don't think Bendis was writing then.
No. Okay, but certain things died out. Like that's why it's Lieutenant. No, excuse me. It's Hawk is not Hawk anymore. There was a lot of things changed with Joe's in that gap between the 25th anniversary and the original release. That's why they ended up getting the full name with the code name in the middle and then the last name, because a lot of those copyrights or legalese terms had expired, but they had no longer a hold on.
Oh, interesting. I was going to say, because she was Kim Arashikage from Jump Street, if I remember. Like, they told us her name on that file card.
But she wasn't Jinx when the figures came out. She wasn't Jinx when the fan club figures came out. She wasn't Jinx in the Retaliation movie. She was Kim.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So when they re-up the figures, that's
Yeah.
when there was the issue with it. I understand.
Yeah, because Spirit went from being Spirit to Spirit Iron Knife.
You're okay. Yeah, I remember that. And I honestly just thought that was like, to avoid some sort of like racism thing.
No. For some of them, not racism. For some of them, it could have been just to identify that as theirs.
Got it.
Right? Because if you just do one word, if you call the guy freedom, well, there's so many other fucking things in this world.
Well, that's true. I mean, there's
there's
the Will Eisner Spirit, and then I believe there's another book called The Spirit too. Something. Okay. Oh no, I'm thinking of Ghost from Dark Horse. Never mind. Ignore that last part.
Okay.
But yeah, I see your point. They basically made it a bit more specific.
But I will say this movie, I like that she's in here because it lets you know
Aikiko.
Yes, Aikiko. It lets you know between her and Scarlet, it lets you know that there's a very small possibility we could get an accurate Snake Eyes that does not talk, and the two of them are his voice. They speak for him because we do know a lot of the time Scarlet is always with Snake Eyes, and she just kind of translates what he's thinking, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's very possible. That's why I said I'm not gonna let my dislike of how these figures look make me think the movie will be bad. But if I see the trailer and it doesn't look good, I won't be shocked based off of how I thought those figures looked.
I think Aikiko is a movie exclusive character.
Okay.
I'm not seeing anything beyond that.
Okay.
So that
It might be,
seems.
but also because in the series that I'm thinking of, it was the granddaughter of the Hardmaster, I think, and Storm Shadow took her under his wing, and
Acceptable.
it took Snake Eyes to kind of show her the truth, because she believed Storm Shadow that Snake Eyes was the one that that killed the was it the Hard Master that he
The
killed?
opposite. Snake Eyes thought it was Storm Shadow who killed the Hard Master.
But it
Oh,
was
no.
really
I'm talking about
Zartan.
just in the series, not in the comics. Just in that series I'm talking about.
In
Because
which series?
in this series, the Hard Master was choking, and Snake Eyes went to go open his throat so he could breathe, and he died in the middle of it. So when Storm Shadow came in, it looked like Snake Eyes had like stabbed him in the throat or whatever.
And which one?
I'm-
Retaliation?
No, this was a cartoon. Hold on, let me
Oh,
I'm viciously
okay.
unfamiliar with this.
let me
See,
Google it.
you know what hits me in the feels is Snake Eyes plays such a big part of the mythology. Excuse me, not Snake Eyes. Zartan plays such a big part of that ninja mythology
Yep.
that he's not involved in. And
Well,
Juwaan, you came up with a good concept earlier in the pregame. That was like, I'd love to see that explored a lot more.
I'm hoping. I'm glad you brought that up. I am like holding out hope that we get like a super secret cameo. I don't care who the hell it is.
By Arnold
It could be a
Vosloo?
no-name actor. Oh man, I would love Arnold Vosloo to do it. I like Arnold Vosloo a lot. And
Okay.
Pete, we were saying it's the idea of maybe there's something that happens in the movie, and we're like, man, that's really uncharacteristic of Snake Eyes. And then it's the big reveal
that it's Zart. Yeah,
Zartan,
I would love for
I'm
that
with
to
that.
happen.
I'm with that, man.
I would love.
Hope
Oh,
that
the
happens.
show, by the way, was called Renegades. G.I. Joe.
Okay, see, I never
Okay,
watched
I like
Renegades.
Renegades, dude.
Yeah.
That was when it was the 5 of them.
Yep. So that was a scene in there that it looked like Snake Eyes had killed him. Storm Shadow held that against him, convinced the granddaughter that that's what happened, and she had this whole vengeful side against
Vendetta.
Oh, I'm sorry. And we get a Red Ninja also
We do get a Red Ninja
in the set.
But I don't
So-
even. They're not even on Hasbro Pulse right now for pre-order. The Red Ninja and the Night Creeper
Really?
are not here.
I could have sworn during the thing they said they'll be there. Maybe.
Really?
Maybe they.
Okay, wait, nope, sorry. The Red Ninja's here. Red
Okay.
Ninja guy's here, but he looks exactly the goddamn same as
The classified.
yeah. As a matter of fact, I think this is the classified figure that they're just re-upping
I
for
was
the
gonna say
movie.
recycling, yeah.
Okay.
They
I didn't get the
recycled.
classified one.
Well, Pete, you missed it. We said during the pre-show, the mask that Snake Eyes has, I have that mask because it came in the Zartan line from Retaliation.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, that mask isn't even new. They're recycling a lot from from what's happened before.
So that Black Cobra Commander in the gold box,
Mm.
is that a movie tie-in? Is that a classified thing? What is that?
I mean, this one?
Nothing. I've heard nothing about Cobra Commander being in this
Oh.
movie. So I don't know if it's a movie tie-in.
The Supreme Snake one was a release from I want to say like last October or something like that. And I've had this bastard on pre-order
Really?
for some time now. I'm gonna try to get it out of the
Oh.
light. And it just opens
my
up.
God.
I actually
And
just saw it on Amazon.
It's you know what? It's fairly cheap right now on eBay. When it first came out, and it was exclusively only the premium members that were able to get it. I should say they weren't the only ones able to order it, but all the premium members got their shit first. And this thing was going on eBay for hundreds of dollars. I think I saw one cap like $250. Now that everybody's got one, they're like $40, maybe 50 tops.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you can definitely get one at a much more reasonable price, especially if you consider the price of what some of these nonsensical classic figures are doing right now. Still,
The classified figures, forget about $100 and change for the fucking Piper, forget it. But that
not doing
reminds
it.
me of a piece for I think it was for the Retaliation movie, and it was a Destro with the ancient Destro McCullough ancestor, and it was a 2-pack, and the box came and it looked like it was an ancient like tome, and you opened it
cool.
up, and it was each figure displayed on either side. it was the Destro and his ancient ancestor. And it's funny, he looks like the Dracula movie with oh my god,
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Yes, remember how that Dracula had a like a red suit of armor?
Yeah, the armor and shit. Yeah.
Yes. So Destro's ancestor looked like he's wearing something like that, and it's like whenever that goes up on eBay, I'm always missing out on. You know, they're always getting me for those last $5.
Never understood that. For like, why does he have the red armor when the family symbol is a black dragon?
Yeah.
I will say, guys, I'm looking here again at these figures individually. And one thing I am liking about Baroness is that she has a sword. So it looks like we could see her get her hands dirty a little bit. And she looks newer than any Baroness look I've ever seen. So I'm like, there's some stuff I'm liking here.
I like her hair sculpt. The hair sculpt on that looks nice.
Yeah. I find it very interesting that of all the things on this, the hair is very nice. The glasses are removable.
Yes, I love that.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, you're gonna lose that fucking little ass piece so easily.
I mean, I like Scarlett's armor. I'm really curious because this movie's doing some fun things, or possibly because you look at it and you go, "There's no mention of Cobra Commander, right?"
Right.
That we've heard of. So the biggest question is, why is the Baroness there, right? And then you go, there's no mention of G.I. Joe existing, previous to this movie. Why is Scarlett there? So there's just a lot of this that's kind of like, I got to wait and see how they play it out, because it could be pretty cool to kind of see why these people are there.
I think that they're going to... Go ahead, Jay, sorry.
No. One of you guys, I think, was the one that said, maybe Scarlett is the recruiter for G.I. Joe?
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I was hoping by the end of the movie, for whatever reason she's there, because she might be there looking for Cobra Commander or following the Baroness, and it leads her there. And then they cross paths, and then she goes, wow, how would you like to come join? And then he's just like, I don't speak, so like, sure, I guess. He's like, I can't stay here. But no, I mean, to me, it's just, I'm sorry, Pete, you were making a point. Sorry, go ahead.
You pretty much hit the nail on the head, which is exactly what I was going to say, was that Cobra and G.I. Joe exist. Maybe they're not, world infamous at the moment, but they are in existence. And either Baroness is there recruiting and Scarlett's following her, which is probably an even better plot line than she's there to recruit Snake Eyes, because she has no idea who Snake Eyes is until he joins the Joe team. Right. So the idea that, Cobra is after some members of the Arashikage clan, whether they're the Night Creepers, Red Ninjas, Storm Shadow himself, whomever, or, whatever is going on there. Maybe they're hiring mercenaries, ninjas as mercenaries. I like
this. I think we just solved this. I think, and it's so crazy. I think.
Don't go down the speculation. Hold
on.
He can't help himself. Just let him get it out of his system.
Hold on. Hear me out. I think Cobra Commander, like you were saying, did send Baroness there to find, to recruit some Arashikage members. Obviously, it looks like the Hard Master turns it down. You can't get any of my students, right? Mm-hmm. I think she then assassinates the Hard Master, and then that's where we get. Not her specifically. I think she has someone murder him.
I hope she has someone murder him rather than her do it herself.
Yeah,
because
it could be.
You need that vendetta. I have to do that against Zartan that brings Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow back together. And in this modern era, and I don't really think it requires a modern era, I don't think this ever would have worked. You got basically two fucking super commando ninja fighting master dudes going up against a woman. That's not going to gel with any audience at that point. It has to be, I don't mean to sound like a sexist asshole, it has to be a man. It's got to be a man. Even if it's not Zartan, even if it's the faceless master, Firefly, which is an odd man.
Yes.
But I'll take it.
I got one for you. All right. We're going on that speculation train, right?
Yeah. Let's just get on board.
All right. Okay, you got to run it. All right, let me ask you, Pete. Have the Night Creepers ever been associated with a Arishikage?
God, I'm trying to remember. The Night
Were they
Creepers
an
didn't
offshoot?
show
No,
up
you don't
until the
remember, Joey?
90s.
I don't
Okay.
think so. I honestly
Alright.
don't think they were.
All right, so and this is
I
a
think they were a
long.
rogue group of
That's what I'm saying.
ninjas.
I think it was more like the maybe the cast outs or like the castaways
Okay,
that
so
formed their own.
we don't know if this Night Creeper is a troop figure or if he is a singular, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember the original line. The Night Creeper leader, he had this weird tiger stripe camel pattern, but he was blind,
That
right? He just wore a big blindfold, big
Right,
orange blindfold,
yes.
right?
that was a
He
stupid figure, by the way.
I
Like,
liked him, dude.
did you?
Like, yeah,
God, that was so like mid 90s. That was the neon era. Like,
that was. But okay, what if the Night Creeper is Zartan in disguise?
ooh,
What if that's an identity, that his early identity, because he's a cast out, like you're saying, and that's the linchpin, because
you
we've
know
got
what?
that the
I
Red
like
Ninja who's a
that.
troop builder, right?
Yeah.
I like
And yeah, I mean, it's weird because the Night Creepers always felt like they were Middle Eastern to me because of the headdress, right? And when you go back to the word assassin, the word comes from Hessian, or no, not Hessian. Hessian is the Russian stuff. Oh my God, like assassin was a Middle Eastern generated word when you look at it etymology.
Hashashin, yes.
There you go, baby. There you go. Right. And so I always felt like the headdress being Middle Eastern, and the way assassin came from Hashashin, Middle Eastern. I always felt there was that association with that. And in the pregame, Juwaan and I were talking about the Zartan figure that was the desert sculpt.
Yes.
Right?
And he did look a lot like the Night Creeper leader guy.
You know what I'm saying? So again, this speculation train is taking a wide fucking turn, but it could be a possibility.
I don't know. Like I'm looking at the Night Creeper leader figure right now, and I didn't register that he was blind. I thought he was like a visor on. But all I can think of,
but it's not clear. It's cloth. It's fabric over his eyes.
Well, it's matching his pants at this point. But yeah, it does look more like cloth here. And I didn't register that. But all I can think of is put a goddamn shirt on, man. Nobody needs that shit. Nobody.
Oh man, it's crazy to think, because I don't think I've ever bought a Zartan figure that has a shirt on. It's always like a cloth that.
Well, yeah, no, Zartan has that like armor on, and I mean he's running around in the Everglades of Florida. It's hot down there. Let them
right.
The man run around.
The 25th anniversary Zartan was fully clothed.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So the 25th anniversary Zartan was the chest was the major blood chest, and it was redone in silver with cloth underneath it.
By the way.
And then they just gave him regular sleeves.
I really hope that we just wrote a much better origin for the Night Creepers as like a rogue ninja clan or something.
Dude.
Because I'm reading the profile right now of the Night Creepers, and they are apparently, ready for this? The Night Creepers are Swiss bankers who had been highly trained in martial arts and equipped with cutting-edge technology. These corporate ninjas, mercenaries, handles Cobra's bankroll, as well as the organization's most dangerous assassination missions. So
stop. How what the fuck was Larry Hama smoking back
then? I was just about to say, what drugs was Hama on at this point, yo? It was only the 90s, so maybe he was really tripped out on X. Like that was the height of like, the X game.
Like when you look at Crocmaster, alligator security guards. Come on.
Hey,
but Crocmaster is a great figure. But I mean, the Night Creepers.
Would you cross that borderline? Like there's a bunch of gators there. I ain't going across that.
I wouldn't fucking go through there.
Fuck no.
But for that, make the Night Creepers, part of the Crimson Guard unit, because that's the Crimson Guard, because of extensive enterprises and Tomax and Zaymot, that was their part of Joe, man.
Right.
They were the financiers.
Right. So why do they need Swiss bankers? Like that's stupid.
That's stupid.
At that point.
I'm sorry, Larry. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me, the great God, Larry. You blew it on that one, brother. You blew it on that one.
But I will say, go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just gonna say, it just speculating as half a joke. Like it was the late '90s at that point, and they're just throwing figures at Larry, and they go like, "Come up with something," and he's like,
"Yeah, I'm tired."
Yeah, at that point, he was already under Serpentor and Cobra La fatigue, so he didn't want to be bothered anymore. He's like, "You ruined my creation."
And then he comes up with good work, and then the company says, "No, we'll do something else. Yeah. We'll let Joe Schmo come up with a different idea in the cartoon."
I will say though, I am really excited for the possibility that this movie will be drastically different in design than figures. I just have to. I have to. Like I told you guys, love Andrew Koji, who's playing Storm Shadow.
Right.
I love Henry Golding. I even like can't remember her name, who's playing Scarlet. She was in that Ready or Not.
Samara Weaving. That's Hugo's niece.
Yes. I'm excited to see what they do with this cast because they have it. They have the good stuff in their hands. It's just how they mold it all together. It's gonna be.
Juwaan, you mentioned something, and you cut yourself off. But Ready or Not was a good movie about the horror movie based on the Parker brothers, Milton Bradley family.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? When did it come out? 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I said it was a movie. I said it was a movie of the year.
It was that summer. It was an August release. Yeah. It was a summer release.
Yep.
And it carried up through the Halloween period.
And I always regret that I didn't see it in theaters.
I didn't either.
Yep, I saw it at home, and I was just like, "Damn it, I should."
Pete, you didn't see it?
What's that, sir? I'm busy looking at Samara Weaving right now, and I never thought I'd be interested in seeing Hugo Weaving as a woman, but all right. I mean, she looks like him.
No, why did you say that, Pete? You know how hard it was to disassociate Hugo from her.
How can you possibly do that? You look at her, and all I can see is Mr. Arashikage. Welcome back. There's even a picture of her with fucking Keanu Reeves right on Google. You can't help but make the association.
She was his daughter. She was his daughter in the third Bill and Ted flick.
I didn't even know that.
Anyway, there are some, like I said, there are some good pieces here to kind of give you the hope that this could be good.
I hope it's better than Mortal Kombat 2. That's my hope.
All right, you're setting the bar very low. It can't help but be better than that.
It can't be worse than that, Jaydee. Nothing in this world can be. I've not seen one movie since then of that ilk that is worse than that.
Before or after?
Before that movie?
Filmed before or after that movie?
Oh, filmed after that movie.
Oh, okay. Oh, man.
That's a good challenge. Now I have to find one.
Yeah.
Now you're going to make me look, but I mean, you might be right. Annihilation is pretty awful.
It's really bad. And what's crazy is you look at the first one and you go, that's serviceable to like really good. Like some people are between that realm of it was okay. So,
you know what? That movie was exactly what it needed to be at the time. It was 1994, 1995, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. It did what it needed to do.
Yep.
Annihilation was.
By the way,
it was basura, B.
Can we really quickly? Did you guys hear the Mortal Kombat theme for this new movie that comes out later this month?
No. Was it this weekend or next weekend that it comes out?
It's next weekend.
Next weekend.
Okay.
They modernized it. And the problem I have with that is usually, because I won't say always, usually I'm not a fan of you taking a classic and changing it at all for any reason. But when I'm listening to it has the aspects of that.
It's in there. Yeah.
It's in there, but it's not that. And I'm like, why? Who sat in that room and said, you know what, we need to change the theme song? Why? Why touch it? Just leave it alone. So I'm listening to it and I'm just like, no, I know there's gonna be a point in that movie where it's a really good fight scene, and this comes on, and it's gonna take me out of that scene completely.
Well, if I may,
Absolutely.
the best fight soundtrack, not the best fight song on that whole soundtrack was not the whole Mortal Kombat theme song. It was Tracy Lord's Control, which played during this Johnny Cage Scorpion fight. That was my
really good
favorite
fight, by the way.
one.
That was the
so
first movie,
good.
though.
First movie.
Favorite fight, Pete.
Yep. I mean, that was one of the dopest ones.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're on G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah.
Two good things about the G.I. Joe Retaliation movie.
Mhm.
Two awesome standouts.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, Rock. No, you weren't one of them.
I agree.
One was the Mountain Ninja fight scene.
Yes.
And two was the remix of the White Stripes Seven Nation Army for that flick. Dude, it had a techno beat and it was up tempo, and you cannot buy that track anywhere.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, if you try to rip it off the internet, right, you got a low audio quality because I have looked for it. Dude, that shit hits better than any other.
I got news for you. I didn't hate Retaliation nearly like as much as I've hated many, many, many other movies.
Okay.
I can sit through Retaliation even to this day. And I would go also on a limb to say, what's that, Juwaan?
No, go ahead.
I would go also to say, once again, I will always tout RZA's role as the blind master.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. And the fact that RZA is a genuine martial artist
God damn you, Juwaan. I gotta go find my piece right now. You fucking best.
RZA was taught by a genuine Shaolin monk.
Yes, sir.
That's
sir.
fucking amazing to me.
Yes,
the guy
sir.
was excommunicated from his temple in Tibet, like, because he was teaching round eyes. Like, just get out. You can't do that.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna come to America.
Yep.
And he was on Stan Lee's Superhumans for having a punch equivalent to a 30-mile-an-hour car crash. Like, the guy
actually, did you see the animated G.I. Joe movie? They put that in there.
Did they?
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
It was the one move that the master refused to teach Storm Shadow.
Okay.
And Storm Shadow felt as though he taught Snake Eyes.
I remember that. Yes.
But never knew. So Storm Shadow went through the idea of the master died, no one ever learned the move. So when it looks like Snake Eyes is down,
and he did it to him at the end.
Does it, and then Storm Shadow's like, "Holy shit, he taught you." Snake Eyes is like, "Yeah, God."
I didn't know that.
Honestly, that's such a Kill Bill moment. Pai Mei taught you the 5-point palm exploding heart technique.
Yep.
But I would also say, like, Ray Stevenson as Firefly was pretty fucking cool. I liked him.
Can I say this, Pete? That whole sequence
Ray Stevenson
of Storm Shadow. Yeah, it was Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, man, that was what's his name? The dude from Thor, Black Volstagg.
Oh, Punisher Warzone.
Yeah, Punisher War. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that was him.
Remember that?
And
I will say, that whole scene was beautiful. Where they thought they had Snake Eyes, remove everything, and it's Storm Shadow, and then he has a sword that combines. I was just like, oh, I love everything.
Now I gotta watch Retaliation because I don't.
You really do.
Yeah.
And here's a little extra tidbit for you. This is almost kind of scary, but it really makes you glad you live in America because shit. I think they called it Project Zeus in the movie.
They did.
With the tungsten rods.
Yep.
Okay. How many years later? 10, 15, whatever. They featured this thing in Business Insider. This is not a conspiracy theory magazine. This is Business Insider. This is like second only to Forbes magazine. Talking about Project Thor. Long story short, this motherfucker is real. This is real, and we've got it. They say like, oh, we never really built it, and it never left the planning stages. Yeah. Bullshit.
But because it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say like we had stealth. We found out about stealth bombers in the 80s when they made fruit snacks of the little bastards. They've had them since the 50s. So you're gonna tell me that the government ain't got that thing running around up there, dropping tungsten rods on things? Like
going back to G.I. Joe, that Ghost X-57 plane.
Yeah,
I never had it, but it was beautiful. It was amazing.
And do you know they still run into copyright issues with that? Do you know why?
Really? Why?
The pilot,
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. The pilot's name was Ghost Rider.
I will say, to your original point, Jaydee, I would recommend rewatching it because there were a few more good scenes to come out of that movie.
Okay. See, I don't remember Ray Stevenson as. I don't remember Firefly. So bringing up Firefly, God damn it, you do need the faceless one and part of this whole mythology, man.
Yeah.
You know, Firefly. Listen, you always end up having less villains in a toy line than you do heroes.
Right.
But from a narrative perspective, you need more villains than you do heroes because of the David and Goliath story.
Mm-hmm.
You taught me about that, Jaydee, when I was saying I didn't like that Michael Bay was giving us like 1 million Decepticons per Transformers movie, and like the same rotating 8 of
But
Autobots.
you needed that, bro.
But that's the way it was
that.
in the original cartoon series too. You had like the same dudes in the it was Hound and Mirage and they went like the first 2 episodes. They went through the whole gamut of.
But the Decepticons had the space bridge, so they were always able to replenish their ranks. And
right.
Stuff like that.
But I mean, I will say, to the original point, Peter, you saying Retaliation wasn't that bad. I will always defend the first one because the first one had a lot in there. The guy that played Destro
was
I thought he was brilliant in there.
Christopher Eccleston.
Yes, I thought he was brilliant in there, and I did love the end scene where the nanites kind of like stuck to him and he turned into Destro. It could have looked a little cleaner. We'll never argue that. But I thought he did an amazing job. I thought the Baroness did a really good job. It was. I
didn't like her story, but I did not mind Sienna Miller as the Baroness.
Exactly, I'm with you on that. It was its main cast that threw me off. Outside of Scarlet and what's his name that was Darth Maul, who was Snake Eyes.
Ray Park.
Ray Park.
Ray Park. Thank you. Outside of
who
those,
killed his career recently?
Yes, 100%.
With a sex tape, I think.
No, he had posted on. Oh yes. Essentially, yes. But aside from Scarlet and Snake Eyes, I didn't like anybody else in that Heroes cast. Everybody else to me was just kind of like.
You didn't like Heavy Duty? You didn't like Dial Tone? You didn't like Ripcord?
Wait, where the fuck was Dial Tone?
Dial Tone was the Middle Eastern guy. What's his name?
Oh, okay. And I will say, I don't know if I registered that. I will say the one thing I loved about that first.
You didn't like Cover Girl?
Hell no.
She got killed, yo. Like, what the hell?
The one thing I loved about that first movie was when the president moves to the bunker, right? And then you see the end of the president. He's whistling the way that Zartan is to let you know. I was just like, oh, that's crazy. What? Like, I thought that was...
Sorry. Bless you.
Bless you. I thought that was really well done. So it had aspects of this movie that I was just like, whoa.
See, you saw that as being well done. I saw that as a ripoff of the movie we talked about in our horror things the other day with Denzel Washington, Fallen, where he kept whistling.
But see, like there are aspects of both movies that make them both acceptable, and like there was a lot of vehicles running around in G.I. Joe 1 or Rise of Cobra, and I wish they would have associated more of those vehicles with the ones that we knew. You know, like they have this whole undersea base. Have some water moccasins running around. Have some even like later hammerheads running around. The only thing you basically gave us was the Night Raven.
Bro, the Devilfish. The one scene fucking G.I. Joe boats. You know, Juwaan, I'm sorry. You know, we're complaining because we're passionate about it. They spent our entire lives building up a mythology that we bought into, right? And we're okay if they're changing things up. All right. But associate that with innovation at the same time, right? Give me something that expands the mythology. Like, I like the IDW comics. A lot of people didn't like the IDW comics. I liked it because we had the Kamakura thing. I liked it because they gave us a love triangle between Baroness, Lady J, and Flint, not just the Destro stuff. Right? little things like that were expanded upon. Not that all of those things can translate over. I get it. But when you give me the first G.I. Joe, and instead of giving me the Vipers, you give me the Neo Vipers, who look like a shit toy and look like even shittier on the fucking screen, man. I mean, what were these guys? The villains in the fucking Super Mario movie with John Leguizamo
and Jaydee, let me say this, because Pete, I know how much you love the character. They really made Hawk useless, essentially in that first in Rise of Cobra. I honestly thought they killed him off within like the first 30 minutes of that movie.
Once I saw it, and no disrespect, no disrespect to Dennis Quaid.
He was a good Hawk. It was
once I realized that he's the actor playing Hawk, I'm like, he's gonna have no action scenes whatsoever.
Yeah.
At the head of Hawk. Yeah. No, I'm completely with you, and I want to elaborate on what you're saying because I hear this a lot, and it's frustrating. Complaining is not the same as passion. And I gave this example before. Okay. It's like, you study up on all this stuff. You read the comics. You become invested. You watch the cartoons. It's not a lot for me to want to see what I've grew up on the big screen. And yes, little small things you don't like if they made a Kid Robin, it would be complaining if I'm like, there was no yellow on his cape. Like, that's complaining. Like, why does that matter?
Right.
But the fact that I want my Robin alive as opposed to dead in that universe is not a complaint. That's passion. I'd like to see a Robin.
And
to me, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They spent how much time and money on that ridiculous ass biosuit fight scene in the first G.I. Joe movie with Duke. God almighty. That budget could have gone into having, even if you didn't want to have like an actual tank, like a Mauler or the flag. You could have made the flag. Everybody would have lost their shit over a flag. But if you want to have something marketable, have some Sky Strikers. Is that Mutt?
That's Mutt.
One of my favorite characters. That's a great figure.
I love fucking Mutt, dude.
Here's how you fucking make Dennis Quaid an equitable asset to that team. You take that whole budget for those nonsensical fucking biosuits and you put him in one of the greatest figures ever to come out of the 90s, which was the 1991-92 General Hawk with the jetpack and the helmet.
Yes,
dude. How much did you lose your shit when you saw that in Toys R Us? That was a dope figure. That was one of the best things about the DIC series was when they actually put him in that costume.
Juwaan, do you know the one we're talking about?
Loosely.
All right, so that body style was used many times over. It was successful with Hawk, right? It had green and brown colors. He had the jetpack. He had a gun. He had a removable helmet. He had his head. Like, one of the worst problems with Deep Six when he was originally released is that he had 2 points of articulation. You couldn't take the bubble off. With him, you could. So now you had that body redone with Roadblock when they went into space, with Sci-Fi when they went into space, right? So you got good use out of it. That meant that was popular. Going off what Pete said, that was your foundation to build off of with the Deke shows, and you didn't go there. You didn't. And then it just, I'm sorry. You brought up the nanites with Destro. Nobody has ever done a proper fucking Destro, okay? Destro is one of my favorite villains of all time because he's motivated by one thing. Money. Fuck you, pay me is his goddamn motto.
Yep.
All right? Fucking Destro. And his badass voice was so fucking deep. I don't give a shit. He was black. He was not Irish.
I was gonna say, who voiced Destro? Scottish, by the way.
Scottish. Excuse me. Yes. I don't know his name, but I know he celebrated his birthday recently.
I will say, speaking of Destro doing all about the money, That's why I want that figure. I want that figure where he comes with the burning money.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, the Mac Daddy. Yeah, I want that
Big
Mac
Bad
Daddy
Toy Store, bro.
Deathstroke.
Big Bad Toy Store. Oh, so excuse me. Going back to IDW for a second, right? Expanded on mythology. So this was the Destro that we all knew and loved, right? Yet his son, the upstart, came into the series and he was wearing the old costume. So I love how they expanded on the mythology. You know, it was almost like Nightwing becoming Batman.
Right.
For me,
And
those
no,
parallels.
and like I said, I'm with you. I didn't think, like I said, I get it if someone's like that wasn't the best Destro they could have done. I agree.
Yeah.
But do I think his performance was bad? Not at all. Not at
No,
all.
okay.
But if someone told me they could do way better, for a Destro,
I believe it.
no, I wouldn't argue that. But I also wouldn't knock him for taking what I assume was a really shitty script and making the best out of it.
The best of it. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I give him that. And like I said, that's the one knock I always hear is that when he turns into Destro, that thing looks horrible. And I'm like, I'll never argue that. It does. It does.
Who was the actor that did Storm Shadow? Because I felt he carried a very good presence over both flicks.
A huge
in the movie?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't. The only other thing I remember seeing him in was the Magnificent Seven remake with Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke.
Lee Byung-hun.
He was
Okay.
And I hope I'm
Red
not butchering that gentleman's name.
He was in Red too.
He was in Red
Yes.
too. That's right.
Yep.
He beat the shit out of Bruce Willis.
Yes,
And
he did.
the voice actor for Destro in the original series was Arthur Burkhart. And yes, he was a black man. He's an older gentleman, actually. He's born in like 1947. So
Look at that.
he's up there.
Look at that.
He was
But,
also
yeah,
the
no,
voice
'cause-
of Devastator.
Really?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I know on the G.I. Joe board,
Stalker.
they were celebrating his birthday recently.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was also Iceberg and Stalker. That's pretty cool.
yeah, no, I love that. So, Jaydee, you did speak about the other figures that we got announced at Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest. You enjoyed some of the Marvel and the Star Wars figures.
I did. So I'm always particular to the Emperor's Royal Guard, and you know the vintage line coming out and with the red cloth cape. I'm a sucker for cloth capes, right? Look at this here with Destro, right? So they sold me on that. I'm not a Power Ranger fan, but god damn, that Lightning collection from Hasbro is on the money, man.
It is
because I like the weapon effects. I really do. You know, with the old Marvel Legends, you get the blast. You know, you get the Doctor Strange magic spell, stuff like that. But here you got, you know, the energy effects that slide on the sword or come off the end of the gun. I could dig that. And then, you know, I've showed a few times the retro style of the Marvel Legends, right? The mini 3 3/4 inch, and everybody knows that 1/18 scale. That's my jam, right? As long as it fits into 1/18, you got my money.
Yep.
So they are releasing in the next wave Invisible Woman, Gray Hulk, the Vision, Bullseye, who comes with weapons, and Ant-Man. You know what, dude? You got my money, and they're only $10. Yeah, okay. When you 6-inch figures, you know they're pricey now. That's $21, 22 plus tax. If you go not even to the secondary market, if you go to the collectible stores, you're paying anywhere between $35 and $40 for the figure. And then you go, you know, you're looking online and you're paying maybe more, you know, 50 to 100, depending on how early it is on that figure's release. So I'm away from that. But if I could say something aside from the Hasbro Pulse Day, a line that I never wanted to collect at all was the WWE mashups with Masters of the Universe. 2 lines I was never really that much into. I had them, you know, they came as gifts, but they were not stuff that I went to the store looking for. I was always looking for Joe's, right? So if I got He-Man or if I got the old wrestling figures, they were all given to me as gifts. But the new line of WWE figures is on the money. Those mashups where it's Sergeant Slaughter dressed up as Man-at-Arms. It's Bret the Hitman Hart coming out as Triclops. And if anybody knows He-Man and Triclops,
all of the different sunglasses. That's dope.
Different sunglasses for the Hitman. That is amazing.
Yep.
I am a Junkyard Dog fan because the JYD initials are in my name, J, the Y, and the D. So the Junkyard Dog was always one of my favorites growing up. To see him as Spike Gore, a little known He-Man character, but he had the chest plate with the spikes on it, and he has that. And Andre the Giant as a legitimate He-Man giant. Oh my God.
I didn't see that one.
Oh my God.
Oh, dude. The Giant. Okay, I was about to say I would have expected Hulk Hogan in He-Man.
Bro, look it up.
I'm looking that shit up right now.
I'm not into the He-Man mashup, like the Savage World DC stuff. I didn't go into, but Junkyard Dog and Hitman as Triclops, I am into that line now.
They did a mashup with WWE and Ghostbusters a year or two ago. Also.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
See, I remember the the zombie figures that they had for a little while.
Yeah, they did the Ghostbusters. It was John Cena, Stone Cold, The Rock.
I mean, going back to the, we just talked about this past week, and I didn't really get too far into it, but I did have to pick up the Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger He-Man horror figures. I thought those were pretty dope.
Yeah.
Jay, you're gonna have to send me that Andre the Giant figure. I can't seem to find it right away, and I don't want to be too distracted looking up shit on Google.
I'm here. I'm on point. I'm on point, guys. We're a team.
But just going off the Hasbro Pulse stuff, the Thor Legends figure with the glowing Mjolnir and Stormbreaker,
quote unquote Fat Thor. Yeah.
Yo, it's so cool.
Yeah.
See, Fat Thor's my man. That's my spirit animal. All over.
Can I say this, Jaydee?
Yes, sir.
I've said this for forever, and everyone always disagrees with me because they always go Stark and Cap. Thor to me had the best arc out of the main Avengers Corps, and I say that because think of Stark. He lost his mom and his dad. That was it. Think of Cap. He lost Peggy. He lost Bucky, but then got Bucky back. So essentially, and
then he got Peggy back.
Then he got Peggy back. So essentially, he never really lost anything. Thor has lost everything. Mom, dad, home, hammer.
His brother.
His best friend.
The love of his life. His best friend, yes. Well, he's gonna find out his brother's still alive, but
but it's a shithead brother without any redemption arc.
Time out, Pete. Time out.
Right.
Ready? His goddamn eye.
Fucking eye.
He lost his eye. So to me, it's like Thor literally lost everything. And at the end of the day, he is the only one who had never gotten a chance to get back. Like, think about it. Before Stark died, in those 5 years, he went and had a kid. He had the life that him and Pepper always wanted. Cap ended up having that life with Peggy. Where did Thor go? Got to go back to work. Got to go out there and find something else to do because I can't be the king of Asgard anymore. I can't do that.
He gave up. He gave it to Valkyrie.
Yeah. Right. So I'm like, he had the best arc, and superhero movies don't ever make me cry, right? I think the Miles Morales moment where he jumped off the building got me, and Peter saying, I don't feel so well, Mr. Stark, that got me. The only thing that really made me cry was when Thor was talking to his mom, and all he wanted to do was prepare her, and she said, don't worry, it doesn't matter. You can't tell me, it doesn't matter. Just know that I love you. And it was her speech that gave him the confidence enough to be worthy to get Mjolnir.
Fucking me up.
No, Jaydee, I'm sorry. I'm only saying this because everyone always says he didn't have the best arc. And I'm like, there's not a more beautiful moment than that moment right there talking to his mom.
Okay, Pete, look, I'm somebody who, my father passed away when I was young. My father passed away 2 weeks before my 7th birthday, right? So my mom was everything, right? She's the one that let me read comic books because I was at least reading something. She was the one that when, all she had was $3 in her pocket, and I did good on a test in school. She spent the money on a $3 GI Joe, right, to reward me. So, talking about Thor and that moment with his mom, that you're reminding me of a moment, and I'm half a bottle of Jack in. So you're touching me in the feels, kid. He does, and thank you for reminding me of how strong Thor's arc is in that series. Not just the Avengers, in his entire span of the MCU. Awesome. So I am looking forward to Thor 4. I know people don't like Love and Thunder, but I am, and whatever spinoff he has in the Guardians of the Galaxy flick.
Yep. When we talked about the figure of Thor, which by the way looked beautiful, cannot wait.
Beautiful. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just reminded me of the stance I've always had and I always will have of just how truly special. And I think the biggest credit I want to give Chris Hemsworth is after that first Thor, I wrote him off. I said, this is fucking horrible. If not for Loki, I could never sit through that first Thor again.
Really?
I like the first Thor.
Wow.
The second one was busted.
I don't think the first Thor movie was bad. I just really think without Loki, it's not nearly as good as some people think it.
Well, I mean, half the movie is the villain, of course.
Right. But I don't even mean necessarily that. I mean the idea of how well Tom Hiddleston acted as Loki. If his performance was subpar,
he did so well, he got his own damn series.
There you go.
Right. So I was more surprised that the big ticket actors and actresses were the supporting characters. Yeah. Anthony Hopkins as Odin. Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on this?
Rene Russo.
Name? No, well, listen, Rene Russo has been in my top 5. It's been either Rene Russo, and it hurt me to see her as Superman's mom in the Justice League movies.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Which movies?
You guys are always talking about the Zack Snyder stuff and the Justice League movies. She was Superman's mom in Man of Steel.
No, that wasn't her. That was someone.
No, that wasn't Rene Russo. No. That was.
Wait, you talk about Cara? She was the Jor-El's wife. No.
Clark's actual farm mom.
Yeah,
that was Diane Lane.
Yeah,
Diane Lane. I'm sorry, Bon Jovi's ex-girlfriend.
Right. That's where you confused me because I'm like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, ever since The Outsiders, when she showed up as a teeny bopper, I've been a Diane Lane.
Diane Lane is ridiculous. Russo. She's timeless. That woman.
Yeah, but they made her look so old and ugly in that.
I watched that. I watched
kick her out of the house.
I watched.
You see what happens when you're half a bottle of Jack?
Anyway, hold on. Talupa's back around. No, some of those Marvel figures do look really good. They got the Ironheart figure that I am liking.
That's right. We're talking about toys. I'm sorry.
I don't even know how we got there.
I'm sorry. I gotta apologize to everyone because I need to stop doing podcasts because I drink too much on podcasts.
Wait. I built my entire reputation on that very thing.
Dude,
it's like that's who I am. That's my essence.
Yeah.
No, but I
like
will
5
say,
podcasts a week. I'm drinking more than I have to drink already. Nobody can handle this shit anymore. Dude, I got a double fist water tonight.
Oh my God.
But no. Yes, I apologize. The Iron Man line, the Armor Wars line looks nice. I like how Ursa Major is the builder figure in that set. They gave us the guardsman, who is a great troop builder. Excuse me, if you want to go that route, if you can afford it, because like troop building is so expensive nowadays, you know. But he was, not that he was a shield agent, but he was the corrections enforcement in the vault for the super criminals. So having that is awesome. I think they sold out with the holographic version of Tony. That would have been a nice offshoot or nice variant later on. To have it a main part of the line that you got to get it.
I really
not
like
sold
the
on-
the God Doom figure.
In white, yes.
Yeah, with
yes.
Is that Thanos' skull? I believe.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
That's dope.
One thing I really wanted to talk about before we go any further with Marvel.
God Doom, baby.
I want us to talk about the thing we were a little divided on. It was definitely 2 against 1. And that is Silent J, the
Silent
reveal,
J and Silent Bob.
right? The reveal of the Optimus Prime that, for some strange reason, is $700 dollars.
Yeah.
But I will say, first thing I thought of, I almost called the 2 of you on video call, because the first thing I thought of was, where was this 15 years ago? When I'm sitting there saying, I will never transform this shit because I can never get it back. Now these little kids can just say transform and the shit transforms.
Who is gonna buy that shit for their little fucking kid?
Nobody buying that shit for their little kids. They're buying that shit for themselves.
I'm telling you right now, there is some kid this Christmas that will have that under their tree, and they will love that thing.
And he's gonna get that shit stolen from him,
right,
by one of the other kids in the fucking
his classmates robbing that shit.
No, it will be me reenacting a Grinch who stole Christmas in the 50s to go steal that out.
You know, all right. So you know how sometimes I'm sorry, I was guilty of this. You have a friend over, and no, you can't touch my new toy. That's my new toy. You can play with last month's or last year's new toy, right? But not this new toy, right? Yeah. They're gonna be doing the same thing with the fucking transforming Optimus. But they're going to tell their friends, oh, no, you can't speak to it. No. You can't talk to it. I'm the only one that can talk to that Optimus.
You're damn right. You're damn right. You're 100% correct.
And
but if I'm going to spend that much money on that Optimus, Pete, what's that big one that you were talking about? The V1 or the V4 version?
Oh, M1.
The M1.
That's actually MP1. I'm sorry. That's definitely on the same height scale as MP1. So the height of it in and of itself is impressive.
Right. No, you can't fit G.I. Joes in this one.
You still can't fit G.I. Joes. No.
So then, which is the one that
he doesn't open up?
There's a G.I. Joe.
That's MP1. Optimus. Yeah, I think MP1 might be like a couple of inches bigger than that one. But so I'll spend 19 fucking inches. 19 inches ain't half bad. And yes, there are actually bigger. I think it's MP1. It might not be. It might be one of the larger scale ones. I might be wrong. There are bigger ones than the MP1.
I do have to say one thing that really pissed me off was in the Michael Bay Transformers movies, right? Mm-hmm. When those toys came out, right? No humans, just the Transformers, right? Let me tell you what pissed me off. The way you could have sold people on the humans is if you made these not massive, but these larger Transformers. Like, you could still transform, but when they're in car mode, you could put like a 3.75 figure inside of it.
You get a little ass figure.
Yeah, but
the masterpiece, guys.
You giving me this? That does nothing. That does nothing. So you could have sold me on humans being needed in that if I could fit them in the car.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Remove them to transform them.
Shit, I'm still trying to find out which Autobot is the one that I sent you in the group chat that fits the 1/18 scale figures in it.
The masterpiece have a little figure that goes inside him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, thank you.
That's the 120. That's Spike or is that?
That's no, that's Sparkplug. Spike wasn't until the Hot Rod figure. And I love.
They never made the wheelchair kit. You notice that?
Yes, right? They did.
Shit, I'm gonna shut my mouth.
It comes with Sunstreaker.
Holy shit! They made the wheelchair kit.
They made the wheelchair. I don't remember.
Wheels, wheelie.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's what they called. That's what Logan called Professor X. What's your name? Wheels.
Wheels. Yeah, that was a great line.
No, but that was a line that would never be accepted today.
Okay, all right. We're talking about Transformers. Hasbro Pulse. Blur was released, and they changed the mythology of Blur. I don't know if you remember hearing it. They said Blur is now he was the dedicated seeker. So Blur's job was to find the Starscream family of vehicles.
Uh-huh.
Did you remember hearing something like that?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so right before the Kevin Smith reveal of Optimus, they were talking about Blur and they were showing the packaging on Blur. And they said in this new version of Blur, he was the I don't want to say bounty hunter, but it was his job to find the seekers.
So he was a seeker.
He was a seeker.
A seeker. Look at that.
My problem with the new Optimus Prime is, one, I'm not happy with the voice chip. Like the voice chip in MP44 for the $400, and I still say for the price tag, the TE01 that I showed off during the Transformers episode that we did for Figure It Out is a way better figure for the $100, rather than have that big stupid backpack that just has the voice chip in it. You know, that's ridiculous to me. And you can't, like, as far as I know, you can't set it to well, yeah, you probably can set it to English or Japanese, so I'm mistaken there. But regardless, you got a big stupid backpack that just like sits there. This one, it sounds like, remember the 90s GI Joes when they used to talk, like used to hit the button on this big dumbass backpack, or they did it on the Marvel figures, the very first Hasbro figures, and it was like, I still remember Wolverine's like, I got claws, I can use them. That's the dumbest lot. Why didn't he say, let's go, bub? What the fuck?
I'll do you one better. So when the Star Wars Phantom Menace figures came out, their stands were chips that you had to buy the display for, and you put the chip over the display and they spoke. Or Jax had it awesome. When Jax Pacific was doing the WWE figures, they had all the ring setups and they had the microchip in the foot of each figure. So you passed them over whatever display of the arena, the Titantron, and the entrance music would play.
That's cool.
That was a great piece. You know, it's not in the figure itself, it's in the accessory that you got to buy.
That's
so
cool.
If you don't want it, you don't have to get it. You want it, if Takara wants to impress me, fuck Optimus. Put that shit in Soundwave, make Soundwave transform, give me Soundwave's voice, let Soundwave play music, and let Soundwave eject the fucking cassettes on his own.
Make it a real tape deck. Make him a real tape deck. Give me retro play. The whole.
Yeah.
I got so many tapes of like shit, you know, from radio, DJ performances and stuff. Like you can't find that no more. Like that's not on any kind of downloadable MP3 file that you can stream or whatever. Give me a Soundwave.
Whatever. It's like whatever those things are called, you know.
I don't even know no more.
Juwaan, like, I think you need to drink with us during these shows. So if it's going off the rails, you're right.
Absolutely not.
But my biggest problem is Optimus Prime walks like a gimp. Yo, he's like,
I am with you on that.
Come on.
And I don't like how they thought the big thing about it was how I could go like this. And like they're like, oh, it's an action pose. That's not an action. What is that? I have no interest in that.
You know what? I will say this about it. It is a precursor of things to come.
Yes.
So from this point on, that system will get better. So I am looking,
and hopefully cheaper.
Hopefully cheaper. Yes.
$700.
You know what it'll take? Us telling everyone not to buy it, so that they know. Yeah. Oh, it's not because it's a bad product. It's because no one in a economy-stricken time wants to spend $800 on the damn Optimus Prime.
Thank you.
Like, and here's the crazier thing. They said it not even around a holiday season. It's like...
It's just here at random. Like, it's fucking April. Spend $700 on a goddamn Transformer.
You know, we're coming to a point where, okay, we're getting the stuff that we want, but things are getting to a price point where it's out of reach. You got to start picking and choosing. Right. You look at the Masters of the Universe. If you went to Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain, That's $500 to $600 right
Snake
there,
Mountain
right?
was like $600.
Look at that.
And it's gigantic, mind you, but it's $600.
Really quick.
And it still doesn't close all the way, Juwaan. It doesn't. If you remember the old Snake Mountain,
they folded into like a little
and
suitcase you could carry your shit
Yes.
with you.
I do know that.
So the wolf head that was on top was a microphone, right? And it was a working microphone back then.
Right.
This is not even a working microphone, and it won't close. Right? Yeah. But it won't close with the wolf's head in there. You got to take the wolf's head out and slide him inside.
I wanted to ask you guys about this. We may have talked this, so if we did, stop me, please. But speaking of He-Man, I said this before because I said I don't know how a He-Man live action would work because you can't have someone skinny turn into someone super muscular.
Of course you could.
I mean, you could, but I think the best way to do He-Man is that he's always just He-Man.
No.
But they addressed that in the comics, as a matter of fact. Like that was a big storyline in the DC comics, was like He-Man kind of forgot how to be Adam.
Because to me, the only reason why that to me is more appealing is one, Shazam kind of made me feel the idea of not really liking the small boy to a giant man concept.
Oh, really? Oh, I like that.
And I'm not saying I don't like Shazam or the Shazam movie. I have no problems with either. It's just in live action, you spend so much time with him as the little guy that you save him transforming for big moments.
Right.
I'd rather the big moments more than the smaller moments.
Well, in regards to the animation of He-Man, as a kid, like He-Man was my favorite cartoon, and He-Man is still my favorite character, even though I don't dive into the toys like I do some of the others, like G.I. Joe or Transformers, because I'm just, the new toys that they make, I'm just like, whatever. I think they could have done
stuff or the Matty Toy Collector stuff.
Both the classics and the reboot stuff. I think they could have done better with it. Have it be literally more posable, so I can get that official by the power of Grayskull pose instead of just like he's like kind of here with it. I never knew that Adam was designed to be much younger, like the way he was in the 2000X series.
Great series,
fantastic. And I never gave it the opportunity then, but I'll touch on that in a minute. Like he just looked like a color swap of He-Man, if you will.
Yeah.
He was basically Prince Adam with a tan later on, and I'm like, how don't nobody but figure this out? Like he just takes his shirt off and he's tan. Like all of a sudden he goes from a white dude to a Puerto Rican. Nobody can figure it out. And it wasn't until 2000X
I'll take that.
Come on. They ain't, but there's no white dude that's getting that tan. An Italian is getting that tan. So that's about that's about it. But no Italian dude has that, stringy, straight orange hair. Every now and then you guys get that. And that may be the odd man out, but there's no Italian running around with that kind of hair. Like, I didn't realize that Adam was supposed to look so drastically different until then. And, it took me a little bit to get into the 2000X series, but the fact that dove so far into the mythology and the origins, I was like, yo, this is a truly dope storyline.
Expanded on the Snake Men.
Storyline is amazing, and we're so worse off for not getting a final season of that should have happened.
I'll even compare it to, I'm a huge, and that's why I'm like, I really hope J.J. Abrams does it justice. I'm a huge Etrigan fan. Like, huge.
Okay. Now, there's an unsung DC character.
I literally swear by him. He's one of my favorite characters after Batman. But
the rhyming is so difficult.
It is.
So that's, to me, I got an appreciation for it. Good.
To me, that's the most important thing they have to get right. That, and then when he spits fire to turn it into a sword, if I don't get those two things, I don't want Etrigan. But the reason I bring up Etrigan is I like the idea of Jason Blood having to say the riddle to turn into Etrigan, but at the same time, I just prefer just Etrigan. Like I don't need Jason Blood. So to me, it's kind of how I feel about He-Man.
Right, gone, form of man, rise the demon Etrigan.
Mm-hmm.
I love the rhyming. I love that. But it should have been played more like neither one wanted the other one to take that space. We've had so many elements. Other elements was Captain Marvel and Rick Jones, where they needed to occupy the same space and time. But even something as simple as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or the Hulk and Bruce Banner, right?
Yep.
You have to have them polar opposites for the story to work. Neither one wants the other to take their seat in the light. For argument's not to invoke the movie Split, because I love the movie Split, right? But each personality was vying for that time to shine in the spotlight.
Yeah.
So you keep that going with Etrigan more specifically. Each one has the power to keep them out, but they need to trade their wants for doing what they have to do at the moment to bring the other over.
And it stands to, there's a psychology behind this. Like, if you're a skinny little twerp of a dude, Prince Adam, why would you ever not be He-Man?
Right.
Why would you ever go back to Prince Adam? Why not tell your parents, hey, I can defend the entire kingdom. I'm gonna just stay like this. Like, just get used to get used to these chiseled ass pecs and these fucking 13 and a half abs.
Because you can't control the secret. That's it, right? It's the playoff of the id, the ego, and the superego. How you see yourself, how you want to see yourself, and how people actually see you.
Hang on, Jay. Like, I feel like I gotta lay down on a couch for this.
Right.
This is the writer. This is the writer speaking over here, right? This is.
But to me, I had the perfect person for Etrigan. I wanted Tom Hardy to be it, mainly because he's someone that can pull off Jason Blood, and he can do the mocap for Etrigan. So like, you don't have to go get someone else or just do all CGI. You could do the mocap for it, and he already grunts as it is. So it's like, it's the perfect person.
Plus, they're both British.
There's not a lot Tom Hardy can't do, in my opinion. Like, he's just a great actor, honestly.
Yep. Except for speak actual words. Whenever you hear Tom Hardy talk, it's just like, I get why you grunt. I understand. But no, so to me, to what you were saying, Jaydee, it's just the idea of some things work in cartoons and animation. I mean, in comics, because it's elongated.
Yes.
In movies, just keep him He-Man. Like, just it's like seeing a Superman movie.
Well,
like,
I mean, then again, when I was a kid and I first saw He-Man in the theater, the Masters of the Universe movie, I remember asking my mom, like, why isn't he turning into Prince Adam?
Right.
Why aren't they on Eternia? Why are they on Earth? Who the fuck is that guy? Why is that not? Where's Orko? And my mom's like, I don't know. Like, I was being basically this, but then, like,
Orko was a Filmation creation, so you had they didn't want to pay for the rights to use Orko because it was a different production company.
Yeah, but Gwildo sucked. I think they just couldn't figure out how to make the little motherfucker float.
By the way, Grayskull, I've said this for maybe forever now. No, not Grayskull. I'm sorry, Skeletor. I've always wanted that to go to Andy Serkis. Always. Okay. Thinking of the voice, and if you want to just do like have the voice be different than who actually is in the mocap of it, going Tony Todd to Tobin Bell. I know how Skeletor in the cartoons had like that funny kind of humorous voice.
Well, that's how Oppenheimer played it. Yeah.
Well, they also, Alan Oppenheimer did a lot of voice acting, and I think a lot. If you imagine the cartoon, Skeletor with, let's say, Tony Todd's voice, kids are gonna have nightmares.
That's what I want.
Skeletor is a frightening looking dude.
That's what
you don't want the kids to have nightmares
without a He-Man kind of voice.
All I'm saying is, and it's crazy because I compare the same thing to Cobra Commander, how he sounded in the cartoons. Yeah. I don't want that to be how he sounds in the movie.
Right.
Like, that's something you want specifically for the cartoons. So that's why it's like Andy Serkis, Tony Todd, Tobin Bell, like guys like that have that voice that can really kind of give you chills a little bit. I love it for Skeletor. And to your point, Jaydee, his visual doesn't have to look as scary as the voice is. You can find the compromise between the two.
He's a literal skeleton. He has to look that way.
Right. So, I mean, you can have him look a little scary. Also, if we're being honest here, do we need He-Man to be PG-13? I mean, PG. I kind of prefer PG-13. So it's not.
Bro, they're selling toys, so yeah, they need it to be PG.
Use the damn sword.
I tell you right now, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is TV-14, and they're selling the shit out of those toys.
Let me give you guys a very nice gift of information.
Okay.
Go on YouTube and look up Spectre Creative. This was an executive who worked on the Matty toy line He-Man releases and the DC whatever competition to Marvel Legends, the DC stuff. And he gives you so much insight and backstory. This guy's putting out like 2 episodes a week. From everything from before the original He-Man line to what he worked on to the not Art Asylum to the Four Horsemen stuff, and everything in between. Great amount of information. Spectre Creative. Why they did King Grayskull, why they did Battle Lion, why the 2011 line died out, why there was a He-Man on Wonder Bread, and everything in between, guys.
You know that's like a $5,000 figure now.
Dude.
I wish I would have bought that when eBay first came out when it was like $200. It's ridiculous.
I did want to ask you guys this before we get out of here. I don't keep you guys too long. Was there one figure that was announced during this that stood out to you? Outside of the ones we've already said, I'll go first. The Aurora Sin figure from Star Wars stood out to me. She's always been my favorite since the Clone Wars series. Which, by the way, Jaydee, I went back and watched that first Clone Wars series. It still holds. Okay. It really does.
Okay.
But Aurora was definitely one of my favorites. She was one of the bounty hunters that ran with Boba Fett when he was a kid. Really love her design. They did a really good job with how the figure looks. But the biggest one that definitely stands out to me is the speeder, the clone trooper on the speeder that comes with you're gonna yell at me here, Jaydee, but relax. That comes with Grogu in the bag, but he's removable. So like he comes off the speeder, the bag is removable, and I think you can take Grogu out of the bag.
Oh,
so
I can see that. I didn't see that.
I like that a lot. So it comes with the speeder, the guy that you can remove from it, and then Grogu in the bag.
Okay.
And so yeah, that definitely stood out to me. So Hasbro Pulse did some good stuff for me today. It did some really shitty stuff for me today. But overall, I did have a lot more things outside of G.I. Joe that I truly did enjoy. But Jaydee, I'll go to you next. What else stood out to you?
The Ursa Major Build-A-Figure. So I'm a Marvel guy, right? And Ursa Major, funny enough, tied into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So one of the best time of Captain America for me reading him growing up were the 300 issues. And after the 350s, where the whole U.S. Agent Captain America situation got resolved, right? Cap started dealing a lot with Dark Star, her brother Vanguard, and Ursa Major. There was maybe about 6 or 7 issues. And then you got to see like the Russian version of the Avengers, Sputnik, Vladivostok, stuff like that. So Ursa Major was part of that team. So to see that figure come out of my, prime comic book buying period, who was nothing, right? The only thing that would have topped that is seeing a comic book accurate Battlestar. And if anybody saw today's episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, you know why I'm lamenting a bit. But that Battlestar figure was what would have been what pulled for me. So getting Ursa Major in there okay, I can dig that. Making that, I'm glad they did it.
Yeah. No, I did. Before we get out of here, I do have a Falcon and the Winter Soldier question to ask you guys before we get out of here. I'm glad you brought that up. But no, I mean, to me, Marvel has done a really good job with their figures, like a really, really, really good job. I got to start getting into their 6-inch figures a little bit more. But there's like a Doom figure that they have that comes with like these not scroll, like the aliens, but these
scrolls.
Yeah, actual, and it's like it looks sick.
Nice.
I really do want a removable Doom head. Like one is the actual Victor Von Doom face, and then like you put his actual mask on. That's something that they have to do, and I'm sure they will whenever we get him in the MCU. Because I doubt he'll be Doom from the jump, but wouldn't be shocked if Feige did that. So really good picks, Jaydee, because Marvel has been killing it, honestly. DC's got to step their game up. I've seen some of their 6-inch figures, and it's like, I don't know what you guys are doing over there, but you might have to kick it into some kind of gear. But Pete, what stood out to you outside of what we've already discussed, and then your overall thoughts on today?
2 pieces, as a matter of fact. One good, one bad. One I was really looking forward to, which was the Erotimus Prime figure for the it's like the studio series, whatever they call it.
That was good. Yes.
You liked it? I didn't care for it. Surprisingly enough, like I'm big into the Masterpiece line. Like I have just dove into this head first. I have tested the waters with both feet, and I really, really liked. I didn't want to get totally into it because the scale wasn't the same. But the Studio Series Hot Rod, I loved. Like it's got the whole base that looks like Unicron. He can hold up the Matrix of Leadership. It's got a little spark on it and everything. You could just recreate that whole pose of him opening it up and basically becoming Rodimus Prime. And that was kind of my inspiration into wanting to buy this figure. And I don't know, like the face, people were saying the face looked old. And I know that Rodimus is supposed to look older. He's got more lines in his face than Hot Rod did. And that was because he was supposed to be more mature and much more leader-esque. And I get that. That happened in the cartoon. I looked at the figure and I guess I was just expecting a bit more out of it. I like the fact that it's not just a remold of Hot Rod. It's a bigger figure. It's a new, it's a totally new mold, a totally new figure. And you could realistically put that behind your Hot Rod display of him like holding the Matrix and be like, and he does like the whole pointing like
in car form
for you, Galvatron, or whatever. But I wanted more out of it, and I guess I'm still kind of holding out hope for a new Masterpiece Hot Rod, because the last Masterpiece Rodimus that they got was MP9 way back in the day, and that still scales with some of the older figures, and it's just like, they're making the new Seekers, and everything is so much more cartoon accurate now coming out of Takara. Even a third party, like, just give us a new Hot Rod, for God's sakes. Like, that's what we want. And I was looking forward to that, and I don't know, I left it a little cold. But one of the things that really stood out to me was, and I had no idea this was happening, but my boy Age of Age Art fame, you guys have seen him on the Pete's Basement show before, sent me the Marvel Legends Eye of Agamotto. And like, this is a really cool display. How dope is that?
I saw that, yes.
My mom is super into Doctor Strange. I'm not totally sure that it's not because she likes Benedict Cumberbatch, but I think she just like digs like Doctor Strange as a whole. Like, there's a whole like just ensemble there that she really digs. And like, I would get that for her just to like kind of have in her house, like she likes some of the Funko Pops and stuff. And, I just think that would be cool. Like, it lights up, it opens up and shit. Like, that's a really cool thing. And for only being $50 for being what I see that highly detailed, like you could take it off the base, you could wear it around your neck like Doc does. I think that's a really cool thingy to have. So that was what stood out most to me. Like, I was like, yo, I need to order that immediately. And I did, as it were.
And I want to add that Galvatron, what I've always wanted was a massive Galvatron, right? when you open it, it's like you could it's like somewhat of a play set that you could have these Transformers that are a little maybe 3 to 4 inch.
You mean Unicron?
Unicron. I'm sorry.
They sort of made one, but like there's a lot of controversy over that. Like the finished mold didn't match the prototypes, so a lot of people who dropped $800 on that shit are not happy.
Yeah,
that was the Hasbro Pulse one, right?
Yeah.
No, my cousin has the first one that was made, and that's one of those things that you only transform once.
Yeah.
You know, it was the plastic was very brittle on that one. A lot of clear, translucent plastic, a lot of it. But you know, that's one of those things there. He's either in orb mode or you know,
or you shell out the money and you buy two, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, super ridiculous.
But they actually did that. They made very, very tiny Galvatron and Erotimus Primes to go with it with the Unicron, and it's even still not in scale because Unicron's a fucking planet.
A whole planet, exactly. But I think we can all agree there were aspects of this fan fest that we enjoyed. The only reason why we were tuning into it, we did not enjoy. It was good that it had remnants of other things.
There was other stuff.
Yes.
But the last thing I want to ask you guys is, we got a rumor that we had posted on our Twitter page today that there will be a huge Marvel cameo next week for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Jaydee, I know you hate this. But I'm just curious who you guys think. We're not diving down a rabbit hole of conspiracies. Just who you guys think that casting may be.
X gonna give it to you. Based on today.
Salud, DMX.
There we go. Whatchamacallit? Dude, I'm not. I got nothing. I'm not chasing it. Just entertainment. You know. Look. As at this point, the girl, what's her name? Sharon is the power broker or something. Maybe she killed him in the 5-year blip and took over that spot. Who knows? Either that or she's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. But I got nothing. I got nothing.
Fair? Pete?
Theory. I'm really hopeful, and I'm just totally speculating on this. I'm basing it off of the fact that one, Daniel Bruhl, is that the gentleman's name?
Yes.
That man sits on a mountain of charisma. Like, nobody in Civil War thought that they would like Zemo the way they do in this series.
I agree with that.
The dance sequence. I mean, this guy dances exactly like me. I'm telling you right now.
Funny.
Like, he literally looks like that's me on the dance floor. This is why I don't dance. I will never, ever get drunk enough to forget that I can't dance. I promise. I will get drunk and forget that I can't sing. Don't hand me a microphone and put Bon Jovi or Guns N' Roses on. I'm telling you right now.
Why you got to throw down the fucking gauntlet?
But I'll never dance. I don't dance.
It's all the same.
Don't get me started.
Right now, Pete, 3 or 4 drinks, and I'm trying my best to do Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's a tough song, man. I mean, Freddie Mercury's a hard act to follow. Not for nothing.
Listen, easiest thing to do, karaoke, Panama. Most of the song is just
nice. Little
Go for it.
Oh God, it just Van Halen. Oh
yeah,
left me.
Yeah. Panama. That's it.
My warm up is actually Hotel California by the Eagles.
Oh, that's too much. You see, you're going hard.
Hard. That's my skate in.
That's a 7-minute song.
It's a good
song. Like, that's how I get my feet wet.
Yeah, that's
no. Okay.
I can actually turn away from the teleprompter. Like, I don't need the words. I know the words to that song.
I got it here.
Listen, Wanted Dead or Alive, hands down, my #1 song of all time.
I'm with you on that.
I can do
I'm
that.
more of a Blaze of Glory fan, as a matter of fact.
Really? Young Guns.
Yeah.
You were a Young Guns guy. That's why. Prince. get Prince into your repertoire.
Okay.
Okay, if
My
you can throw
dad
Prince
is
into
the biggest Prince fan. Biggest Prince fan.
bro, Little
In
Red
my
Corvette.
household, you don't talk Michael Jackson. It's only Prince.
No, we don't. We don't.
You know, you
But
don't.
I digress. The
sorry,
point
yes.
the point I wanted to make was with Zemo being so popular, I think it lends a little bit more credence to this. I am hoping that the power broker is General Ross. Because if anybody would want a super soldier serum, it is a career military guy who just wants what's best for his country. And that is more super soldiers to win wars. And now we could have him possibly trying to, again, to recreate the super soldier serum, inject himself with it, and become the Red
Hulk, Thunderbolts. Oh
Thunderbolts.
Right,
The original Thunderbolts were led by Zemo. So who doesn't want Daniel Brühl running around some more, because he's fucking awesome. Like, he's awesome.
Yeah.
I want more Thunderbolts.
I'm with you on that. All right, so twofolds. I hope that the secret cameo is Cap.
Okay.
Is who Cap? Steve?
Yeah, Cap. Yeah,
okay.
Steve.
Okay. I would like that.
You know, because to me, it's the thing that I think could get Falcon sold on what he needs to do going forward.
Okay.
The reassurance from Steve of, I didn't choose you because it was just like, well, I got to choose somebody between these two. No, I chose you because I thought you were the best person to take over for me. Because at the end of the day, if Steve didn't think Sam was worthy, he would have just stayed Captain America because he wasn't going to give it to Bucky. So Steve is who I hope the cameo is. I originally had hoped, God rest his soul, that that since they had filmed this before he passed, that we would have maybe seen Chadwick Boseman.
They did film it. I wasn't sure.
They did film it before he passed.
Oh, that was nice.
Yo, my mom asked that, like, cause my mom likes all of these shows, and you know, when the Dora Milaje showed up, she's like, "Did they film this, you know, before
but that's why
or after?"
It bothered me because remember, in the Black Panther movie, remember how the Council of Wakanda was saying, you have to go get the guy who stole from Wakanda. You, as the king, have to go do that. I find it hard to believe that the guy who killed the last king, he would send his army to go do it for him. It would be very personal for him.
Juwaan, you just pissed me off, because if that's not what we get next week, I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to drive to your home in the middle of the show, and I'm going to give you a little...
Right? No, because it was the first thing I thought when I saw Ayo at the end of last episode was, maybe they're hiding T'Challa for like this episode that we just got, and when he wasn't in it, I was just like, that's really weird. That,
God,
like,
do you think we could possibly get an actual Chadwick Boseman segment?
You know what? Okay, here's one of the things that hurts.
I don't think so.
I didn't want Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. I didn't. I wanted Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was, Baron Mordo of Doctor Strange.
Right.
If anybody saw Red Belt and saw his fighting skills in the movie Red Belt,
yes.
I was like, oh my God, he is destined to be Black Panther.
That's a dope movie. I'm glad you made that reference.
All right. And, we got Chad because Chad was hot. Chad was doing almost every other biography movie that was out there at the time. Mm-hmm. So he was a marketable name, and then he had this screen presence, that was just, he carried himself regally. And he said something on the promotional tour that sticks with me to this day. He goes, I'd rather have a figure of me than an Oscar for me.
Yep.
That's cool.
And I'm like, this guy won me.
Credit to him. It was all his idea for, T'Challa to speak with an African accent. Yeah. That was his whole idea. It was like, well, if they've never really, westernized, he's not going to have a straight English accent. And that's that's a fucking good
I will call. Say when he won me over was right after T'Chaka died, and he was sitting on the bench with Natasha. And Natasha was just like, you got to let it go. Let us handle it from here. And then he just stands up and goes, don't worry, Natasha. I'll kill him myself. Like, just with the ease of, like, not even fearing who he just said that to and what the consequences could be from that. Didn't care. I'll kill him myself.
That's how you know there's no justice in the world, truly, because like a great actor, a great guy like that, I don't think I've been hit by a death of a famous person like that in years, probably since like Mickey Mantle, who was my father's idol way back when. Like that was 20 fucking years ago.
The Stan one hurt me. The Stan one cut me.
Stan, of course, yeah. I mean,
that's different. That's different.
And that was the same year as my father passed. So like that really hit me. People were coming up to me in work like, "Hey, you okay?" Like, you know, I'll be fine. But I mean, Stan was, by all rights and reasons, he was like what, 85 or something. Like, where do I sign?
No, he was 90. I think.
Was 90? Well, I forget how old he was, but like he lived a good long life. You know, where do I sign? You know, he had a great run. So yeah, like that was more expected.
Right. Chadwick was in the prime.
That was fucking heartbreaking. Yeah, that was awful. Like there are a lot of people, there are celebrities aplenty that I would put in that box altogether. Forget it. Bang, 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 bang. Just to have Chadwick back. I don't care.
For sure.
Like, that hurt. When that shit dropped, and because like none of us knew what his condition was, we had no idea because he kept that shit so close to the heart.
And
when
that's what makes him a hero. That's what
it makes him a hero in that he took care of his family, literally, because they never would have hired him if they knew he had cancer. So like he just kept that shit like, I'm gonna just keep myself quiet and keep my family, like my parents, my brothers, sisters, whomever. I don't know what his family situation is, but the people he cared about were now taken care of by his place in the MCU.
Yeah, all right, so you're making me emotional. Stop. You're making me emotional.
No, okay, fair enough. So we'll go back to my original statement before we get out of here. So Cap is a secret. Cap is who I assume will be the cameo for next week. It fits. It makes the most sense. Chadwick would be the one that would literally be like earth shattering.
That would be whew.
Because it would be our proper goodbye. It would be our proper goodbye.
True.
But yeah, I mean, you said Ross, Pete, on the last episode we did together. Weirdly enough, it was about Kong and Godzilla, and we went everywhere.
We went all over the place.
But I said I do believe it'll be the Mandarin. I believe the Mandarin will be the power broker, and it'll lead
interesting.
Right into Shang-Chi. We've seen his presence in the first Ant-Man movie, in Iron Man 3 a little bit. So we know that he's out there. And, you know, so I would like to see him kind of show up here, and then we see the full length of it in Shang-Chi. Which, by the way, Shang-Chi better be how I get Iron Fist, or I'm throwing hands with somebody out there.
You know, I can't even go this. I'm still stuck on the whole Chad thing. I'm going to shut this off, and I'm going to go cry for a minute because that'd be a beautiful goodbye.
I want to touch on that a minute for a second because, like, we got a little emotional on this episode with a few different things. So I want to throw it out there for, not now, obviously, but for a future episode. I want you guys to think about it, and we can touch back on it whenever you have an answer. Because there are a few of these that I know off the top of my head, but comic book storylines that actually made you cry.
Yeah,
forget movies, forget anything else. Comic book stories.
I got 3 of them, and I won't say anything. I'll save it.
Yeah, I only have one that I know of, but I'll save it. Yeah,
keep it on the back burner, and let's touch back on this because I think it would make for an interesting show at some point.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I have one major one, and I can probably think of a few more off the top of my head.
I only have one major one. I'm not a big crier. It's why the Thor thing hit me so much.
I'm not either. And there are a few things that just like every time I friggin' read it, I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, you know what? Like,
I got 3 of them. That'll bring you to the feels, and I'll save it.
All right. So we've got a future episode coming.
We sure do, and we'll open it a little bit. Well, anything in the geek realm of like besides just comics, movies, animation. Because I definitely want to talk that Miles Morales scene where he jumps off that building, and how that's more than just finding the inner strength. It's the inner confidence. It's believing in yourself when it seems like no one else does. And it's the idea of him saying, if I don't take this chance on me, no one else will. And it's the idea of it has to be now. And it always gives me chills. Just even the song that
Nice.
when he jumps.
Yeah.
Oh, chills.
Hello,
Anyway,
Danger. Yeah.
I gotta go watch that part now. I gotta go. But guys, we broke down everything Hasbro, everything else. This was a very special episode of Figure It Out. I want to thank Jaydee. I want to thank Pete for doing this with me. I blame that on me, Jaydee.
This was full. So, yeah, that's.
I do want to thank you guys for spending your Friday night with me doing this. Cannot wait. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to be doing, I think we're still going to decide, but maybe next week's episode of Figure It Out will be sci-fi or sci-fi fantasy, whichever one we want to do. But if we do sci-fi, my dad wants to be a part of that. So that'll be a lot.
We're waiting for that, man. We're waiting.
Yeah. I'm going to hang with him and not with you.
Yeah.
That's my fear. It's why I have the end episode button really close to me for that one. But stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for Marvel Cinematic Review tomorrow night. We're going to be breaking down everything of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And Pete, we reviewed Godzilla and Kong on your Netflix.
I am going to share that. I had meant to share it early this afternoon, and then unfortunately DMX passed away today. So I decided to just put up a little tribute to him in the story. Nothing crazy, just like just a one panel thing. DMX was like my favorite rapper back in the 90s, and I said, like, all right, I can wait until Saturday afternoon instead to post our episodes, which is what I intend to do. But they are up now on the Pete's Basement YouTube channel. There is the Godzilla review that we all did together, and that encompasses not only Godzilla versus Kong, but also we talked about Batman, and we talked about Batman Along Halloween.
Maybe I'm glad I missed it. Okay.
And we talked about Spider-Man Far From Home, or No Way Home, rather. Right. And Ramon and I also reviewed Invincible on Amazon Prime, which is a dope series, and it's moving a little slow for me. So,
did you see today's episode?
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched it yet.
No. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to say, throw out what you just said, because it does not apply to today's episode.
Okay, good. Because what I did was I dove head first. Ramon gave me the series to read, and I'm like, I gotta know what's going on. I'm up to, in 3 days tops, I'm up to like issue 50 by now. So I intend to have this done by the time the series concludes, and then I can do like a follow-up review for what I deem to be one of the coolest animated series on, in comics today. Like
there's something coming up that happens that is a unique perspective on what's going on. A unique perspective on taboos. I'll leave it like that.
Okay. I'm gonna go watch as soon as we're done here. I'm gonna go upstairs and just
read more.
Chomp down on some funny chocolates and just watch Invincible. So I'll be like, hey.
Text me after, Pete, because when I tell you, y'all will go from here all the way on the ground, and then
you need like a forklift to pick that shit back up.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, 100%. All right, don't say nothing. I've got to watch it too. I gotta watch it.
All right,
you guys contact me when you do it. Because by the way, Joel has also read the books, so maybe we can do a Figure It Out episode on Invincible.
I would love that. They actually released a new Invincible figure. Like, he's all blood covered and everything. Like, they look dope. Nice. I'd like to get one.
All right, perfect. And by the way, this has possibly the best voice cast I've ever seen.
100%. All right, so we got to do an Invincible.
Yeah,
we're gonna do Invincible.
The best part is I have managed to avoid all spoilers except one that I know about, because I remember Ramon reviewing it on the Basement Show years ago.
Right.
And I'm like, pre-heartbroken about that. Like I know it's coming, and I'm like, God damn it.
Right,
So
don't
like,
say nothing.
I'm not saying shit.
Well, we know what it is. Those who read it know what's coming up.
Yeah, like that, and I'm reading it now, and that's the only thing I know that's coming, and I'm like,
that's probably what Juwaan is alluded to. But
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. No, that's my answer.
Okay.
No.
this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be
All right.
fun.
Cool.
So,
All right, fellas.
So we'll plan that out.
Salud,
All right,
gentlemen.
everybody.
Have a
Salud.
great weekend.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Peace.